highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Winter Meetings Wildcard Weekend for Major League Baseball. I have a couple of guest hosts with me this week that will be helping us break everything down and talk about what's coming up next. But first, as always, I do want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Gunslinger Soap. Gunslinger Soap is handmade soaps and beard products made without all of the junk to pamper your skin. You can go to their website right now, gunslingersoap.com, and sign up to get 15% off of your first order and always free shipping over $30. That's gunslingersoap.com. Definitely check them out. I want to bring in my co-host with the most home runs given up by a one-time Yankees pitcher. Mr. Stefan Weaver is here with us this evening. How you doing, sir?
All right. I'm doing all right, despite your introduction.
Oh, it's good to see you, my friend, as always. I'm glad you're
Thank
with
you.
us.
Good to be seen.
And we have a special guest with us this week. Coming in, he is the Mariners writer for our partner, Sportsaholic. He is also the person who runs West Coast Radio. A lot of great options on there, including some calls some high school football games on there for a, based on the numbers I've seen, very good team. But right now, he's really excited about how his Mariners are doing. Welcome, Mr. Jensen. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on this evening.
How you doing, Lane?
I'm great. How are you tonight?
Good. Hey, congratulations.
That was a close one.
It was a good one, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to
you
see.
win the close ones. That's how you get there.
One run victories. I mean, I'll tell you, we're the best in MLB in that right now.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
So
Of
course, a lot of that has to do with your reliever. That guy's incredible, Moreno.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, between Romero, I mean, just our whole back end right now is amazing. If you look at it right now, it's just throwing filth. I mean, and then look at what Ray did. Coming in the ninth to shut it down yesterday. That was amazing what he did as a starter, coming in, closing down Toronto to get the victory. I mean, what can you do?
They're kind of looking like the Tampa Bay Rays of like 6 years ago. Just filling in pieces, everyone contributing.
I was connecting him with the 2015 Royals. They have that feel of that team that don't quit, will go through a wall for each other, and just a true connection as individuals. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. But they are the sweethearts of this year. I thought it was great. The comeback yesterday, coming back from being down 8-1 in the sixth inning, they ended up winning the game at 10-9. Amazingly enough, not having to go into extra innings to close that gap and win it. The fifth best comeback in MLB history.
And they have incredible fan support up there.
Yes.
Great support. Very reliable fans for the Mariners, despite the troubles. First playoff appearance in 20 years.
21.
21 years, sorry. So, Lane, as we start off tonight, talk to me about how you were feeling yesterday as the game was going on, and how you felt about the Mariners' chances with the struggles that they were having in the first half of the game.
Well, I'll tell you, it really felt like an emotional roller coaster yesterday. I mean, seeing how everything was going, being down 8-1, and then almost having no shot of coming back. Just 7-run deficit. Scott Service has done a great job with his ball club, and
I turned the TV off at that point.
Exactly. I did too. I mean, I was watching the stream and I'm just like, okay, this is over. We're going game 3. We're going game 3 Sunday. We'll just see what happens. But now it's like, okay. Once I saw Santana hit the home run, I hear about that. I'm like, okay, maybe they've got a shot. And then that blue single that Crawford hit to score 3, or the blue double, I'm like, okay, we're back in this thing. And then, of course, Adam Frazier coming in the clutch to get Cal Raleigh home from second. I mean, how much better can that get, honestly? Cal Raleigh has been such a playmaker for the Mariners just ever since he came back from AAA.
He's been
got
incredible.
Everything back. Yeah,
he's been incredible.
He's got everything back for him, and he got everything going. I mean,
and from what I hear, he's got a cannon of an arm.
Oh, he does. He absolutely does. So, I mean, he can benefit on both sides, on both offense and defense. And, of course, his nickname right now is Big Dumper, and he's embracing that by the fans. Yeah.
I love that.
He's embracing it. He's loving it. And, honestly, this team is gelling so well together. There's really no stopping this team at this point. There really
Absolutely not.
Right now, after that 14, there are 2 big things that happened for the Mariners. That 14-game win streak right before the All-Star break, and the signing of Castillo.
Absolutely.
Those 2 were the biggest things that the Mariners could have done, and they did it, and that's what got them in the postseason, honestly.
And they got some heat for what they gave up for Castillo.
They did. They got a lot of heat.
It's paid off big time.
I mean, the first game back, he faced the Yankees or the first game for Castillo, he faced the Yankees and won at Yankee Stadium. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then he did it again in Seattle and won, his home opener against the Yankees and won again. So, he is lights out. And game 1, he was throwing about 100 miles an hour. Toronto had no answer for him. And here's the best part. Because of the fact that the Mariners finished up all their series with Houston by the trade deadline, the Astros have not seen Castillo this year.
Right.
Which I think is going to be a huge advantage for Seattle. Huge for game 1. And we got to win at least one game in Houston to even have a shot of being able to win the DS. So throwing him game 1 would be huge.
They didn't face him when Houston went to Cincinnati?
Nope, no. I don't know.
Okay.
Nope.
And like Jessica Mendoza said yesterday, he throws so free and easy. It doesn't even look like he's throwing hard.
Exactly. So it's perfect right now because Houston, with his two seam and with his slider, they start out at the same point and they break right before the play. Houston batters are going to be completely, clueless of what to do, in
His
my
two
opinion.
seam is so ridiculous. I remember everybody being excited about Dustin Mays last year because, and don't get me wrong, the break on Dustin Mays two seamer is just stupid. Like, I mean, and we'll talk more about the Dodgers in a little bit, but the way that he pitches, it's so fun to watch. And watching that game the other day, in game 1 of the wild card series, he was just on a completely different level with how he was pitching.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was looking at the numbers for Frazier and for that couple of games, had a couple of home runs, and was hitting, and over the year hitting like 240-ish. Yeah, I think it was like 238. But Adam Frazier is very quietly one of the best second basemen in the game.
Yes.
And
Defensively, he should have a Gold Glove, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
With the Mariners.
Absolutely a Gold Glove second baseman. And I there's still some upward momentum for him. I feel like, as far as he's concerned, he is 30, but with somebody that's an infielder,
That's
you
his
can still
prime.
get. I mean, yeah, he's in his prime right now. You still got 5 to 7 years out of him at least.
Right. And here's the thing: is Winkler and Frazier were both big reasons why the Mariners signed Castillo, because they wanted that group back again from the Reds. They wanted it in Seattle because of the offseason signings, and Jerry DiPoto was able to make that happen.
And Castillo's got to be thrilled going from Cincinnati to Seattle.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, T-Mobile is a huge pitcher's ballpark. I mean, just with the weather up there, huge pitcher's ballpark up there.
I'm also extremely impressed with Ty France.
Oh, Ty France, absolutely. I don't know if you saw, but at the All-Star break, there was a huge debate on him being snuffed out for the All-Star selection, and he finally got in because of I can't think of his name. Center fielder for the Angels, Trout.
Trout being injured, yeah.
Right, Trout being injured, he was able to get in finally, but there was a lot of debate on that.
Wait,
that he
Trout
should have
got
been
injured?
selected.
That never happened.
Yeah. Generational talent and spends more time in rehab than several Hollywood celebrities, but it's at least it's a different kind of rehab.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
We know of. So, he does play for the Angels. They're known for dealing drugs behind the scenes.
Yeah, that was. I'm really surprised that Art Moreno having to sell being at the point where he's going to sell the Angels. Yeah. I'm really surprised that it wasn't by force after all that stuff came out with what was going on in that Angels clubhouse after Tyler Skaggs' death. Like that was insane. But he's having to sell it anyway. I mean, he's still going to make $1 billion on the deal. So it is what it is. But
he's never going to get his winning team.
Nope.
No.
And
I was gonna say, Mariners invested tried to get Ohtani, invested a lot of international money trying to get Ohtani, and ended up going to the Angels, which honestly I think was a good thing because, of course, Ohtani had a lot of injuries happen in the first couple of years of his career, and of course he had to deal with that in LA. We didn't have to deal with that up in Seattle, which propelled us, I think, to where we are now. Where now we're in the playoffs, and look where the Angels are at.
Yeah, I think Seattle's a good fit for him.
He's not going to be staying in the Angels.
No.
It's not an if, it's a when. That $30 million contract that he has for next year is just a stopgap to avoid arbitration. We talked about that on this show a couple of times. The Mariners, like I personally, as a Red Sox fan, I genuinely do hope that Boston makes a push because he would be. The advantage that Shohei brings to you is you get 2 roster slots out of one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's
a tremendous personality.
Right. And it's the kind of thing where even though you're going to be dumping some money into him, getting 2 roster slots out of that one guy softens the blow of having to pay Xander Bogaerts and Ralphie Devers and keeping them both on the roster.
But you've also got to look at Seattle's background with Japanese players like Ichiro, like Shitoki, with previous players, and then also oh gosh, I can't think of his name, but he plays for Toronto now. But anyways, with all the
they have
Japanese
a huge
players.
Japanese following.
Exactly.
Does.
Oh yeah,
so
the whole community is very, very Asian oriented.
Exactly. So I honestly think, Seattle can deal a couple minor leaguers, AAA players, maybe even Kelnick, to be honest with you, to be able to get Ohtani, because again, Ohtani being the dual position player, 2 rosters, like you were saying, 2 roster spots in one person, it could be a huge benefit.
You can, as much of a value as Kelnick is, if you're getting Shohei Ohtani out of the deal, it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's worth it. And I mean, and especially because you still got guys like Julio Rodriguez.
Yep. Mitch
Haniger.
Oh, I've loved Mitch for years. Mitch been great for years.
Yeah.
That we've
Is
mentioned
he like the longest tenured Mariner?
I think so.
I believe so, actually.
Yeah, he's been there forever.
He has.
Yeah,
he's been through the bad years, so it's good to see him in a good year.
Yeah, the only other longest tenured was Kyle Seager, and he retired after last season.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel bad that he retired, but it was time for him. He's been on the team since 2001, I believe.
I was gonna say he was on the last playoff team, wasn't he?
I believe he was. I believe he was on the L1 team with Edgar being DH.
Yeah, and it's I do feel bad for Seager because he spent so much time with that organization to not get to see that. Kind of like Pujols, with the Cardinals losing Pujols and Yachty not getting a true shot at another ring. I thought they would at least take that series to 3 games, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations to the Phillies, but let's do this as we continue to talk forward on everything. Let's go ahead and take a look at where the bracket stands as of right now. Or that's how it was with the start of the postseason. And then, of course, as of right now, because our Sunday night baseball game is not technically over right now, so we do still have to treat it as anything can happen, even though it is Padres at the 7th inning stretch. Padres are up 4-0. But for argument's sake, this is how everything sits right now.
Hey, Mariners, you got to remember, it's baseball. Anything can happen.
Mariners
just
like
look at Seattle the other day.
Exactly. Seattle came back down 8-1 yesterday. So anything is possible. So as of right now, this is how everything stands. The Mariners will play Houston. These series all start on Tuesday, by the way, with the American League being on Fox and the National League being on TBS.
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
I think the National League is on Fox. The American League is on TBS.
Yep. Sorry, ADHD. I get stuff backwards. But this is the way it sits as of right now, since that game is still active. The Phillies did beat the Cardinals in 2 games as the road team. We did also see the one that I did not expect. The Indians did beat the Rays, so we will see the Guardians beat the Rays. So we will see Cleveland in New York. And then, of course, the Astros will be hosting the Mariners. And that means the Mariners get to host at least 1 playoff game.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I would feel horrible if they went the whole year without getting to see 1 game.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if they'd have lost that series and not been able to see 1 game at home, that'd have been terrible.
Yeah.
A lot of all Mariner fans would have been, okay, we'll try again next year like we've been doing for 21 years, but
although I gotta admit, they showed the game in the stadium anyway. It was packed.
They had over 3,000 fans in the lower section there watching the game. And of course, speaking of that, I don't know if you saw, Stefan, but rally shoe. I don't know if you saw that.
The rally shoe.
The rally shoe.
It is.
That's something new.
Now, here's the best part. It is now in the Mariners Hall of Fame.
Really?
That particular shoe is in the Mariners Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Go look it up.
I remember the 2015 Royals during the World Series run in the postseason. They found a praying mantis in the dugout during the game. They put this, and it was in one of the games that they rallied back and earlier in the postseason run. They got this praying mantis in a cage, and he traveled with the team throughout the rest of the postseason, and he was the rally mantis.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
There are some teams. There's that thing that happens.
Yeah.
The rally mantis, the rally shoe.
Yeah, the Giants had the rally monkey.
The rally monkey. There's
exactly.
That's one of the fun things about the postseason is so many weird things happens. So many weird things happen, but you get good baseball.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to worry about a record. I mean, when you start the postseason, the records are completely erased. You're focused on one series at a time with one opponent. You're not worried about a 162 game season. You're worried about a 3, a 5, or a 7 game series with one opponent. That's it. Don't think about anything ahead. And that's what Scott Service is telling this team is, focus on the here and now. How can you turn whatever situation you are in, if you're in a bad situation, how can you turn it around? And that's exactly what we saw yesterday with the Mariners. That's exactly what we saw. Coming back from 7 down, there was a little luck involved, and I feel bad for Springer and Bichette, and I hope they're okay. I mean, last reports were they were okay, but oh my gosh, that was I being a diehard Seattle fan, I feel horrible for those two guys right now.
As somebody that used to play baseball, I mean, I know I only got to high school level. Stefan made it quite a bit farther than most of us ever would.
Oh yeah.
But like seeing anybody collide, like I played catcher,
and
scary. So it's those collisions are always scary because I was in catcher's gear, but that does not provide the same protection as football pads.
No,
no. Those guys in the outfield, they don't have anything. So those collisions
you see one of those collisions, you feel it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was a baseball umpire, so I completely understand. Yeah.
It's rough to look at, and yesterday we saw in the game, and I thought this was absolutely amazing. There were people that were mad, but the Rays Guardians game, 15 innings.
Right.
1-0 score. That's just like you don't normally see in today's game. You don't see a pitcher's duel. But it wasn't just the two starters. It was all the way down the line. Both bullpens were not giving an inch.
Right.
It was just good fucking baseball. And you can't go wrong with that. I think it's absolutely amazing that we got to experience that. We did see Hentges get the win in that game. Kluber took the loss. Kluber's probably the one that gave up the run, and that's why.
He gave up the home run.
He was.
It's kind of ironic.
Right.
They didn't really I didn't think they gave him a real big ovation when he came on. Did he have a problem with Cleveland with the Guardians? Because I know when they announced him, there was really quiet in the stadium.
Hold on, let me look because
didn't Kluber used to pitch for the Guardians?
Yeah, he won 2 Cy Youngs.
That's why.
Did. He became a pro for Cleveland in 2011, and he left the Cleveland organization. Looks like after he was probably like Tommy John in 2019. Came back a little bit for Texas in 2020, but didn't really do much. He only played in 1 game in 2020, but that was the COVID season. So there's some guys.
Did he play for the Yankees 1 year?
And last year he pitched for the Yankees, 16 games, and then 31 games for the Rays this year. Like that's a full season.
Yeah,
that's that's only his. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only his 5th season in his entire career, which he's at 11 years now. It's only his 5th season. He's pitched over 30 games. So,
well, probably because he doesn't throw as hard anymore.
No, he does not.
No,
he dropped off pretty quick, I feel like. But he is age-wise. I mean, he's what, 31, 32?
But he's
36. He's 36.
He's a pitcher.
Yeah, but he is 36. So
yeah, but he's one of those guys that makes the adjustment from being a flamethrower to still being successful. You don't see that a lot.
Well, his locating got better even as he lost heat, but and it's that old Maddox saying, when I'm missing, I don't try to throw harder, I locate better. And that's a valid point. He's great with locating his pitches. But in a game like that, one wrong move and your season's over.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Rays clinging to Moneyball for dear life, consistently, that's what that organization does. You're going to, that's the difference between paying league average for a closer and or any bullpen guy and spending a little more money.
Although, to be fair, I mean, they consistently have an amazing bullpen. I mean, they have guys out there to throw gas. Fairbanks, a couple other guys. Guy they got from the Marlins.
They consistently make the postseason with playing Moneyball, so they do it well. They were talking yesterday, I think, on one of the or during the game with the Rays and the Guardians, that the Rays organization consistently sees the most hiring or the most interview requests for people on their staff. They had 47 in this last off season.
Well, that's the thing with Moneyball, which you also saw in Oakland. I mean, they win a lot of games, but they never win the big one.
Yeah, but but even Oakland isn't doing that anymore, and I think that's one of the problems. That's why A's fans are so pissed off, is because you're going to raise season ticket prices, take away an actual season ticket holder parking lot, raise prices inside the stadium, and there are players actively playing in baseball that make more money individually than your entire payroll. Really?
Yeah.
But they got to see a blowjob in the outfield.
I mean, the most action that stand is seen in
all year.
Since before COVID.
Yeah.
And then other games from the wild card weekend, we saw we talked about we saw the Mets even up the series yesterday 7-3. The Mets in that series, man, they just are not hitting. They don't have the offense that they should.
Well, that's been their problem all year, not hitting with runners on base. I mean, that's how they got swept in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Leaving too many runners on. But wait, before we go on, can we talk about Aroldis Chapman in New York?
We're going to get to that.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to jump the gun.
No, you're cool. No, that's definitely, we're going to be talking about that because that's an interesting thing.
And I want to talk about the Mariners-Astros series.
Okay. Oh, we are.
Good.
Yep. But the Mets, I mean, still down, bottom of the seventh, down 4-0. Their offense just isn't really doing it. And you're not going to win games if you don't have offense. Great pitching is one thing. They have probably the best starting three rotating. The first three in their starting rotation of pitchers. It's probably the best in baseball.
I agree.
It's not good enough. You've got to have offense.
Yeah. And that was what Seattle's problem was. That was what Seattle's problem was in 2021. So many years, that has been the problem. We've had excellent pitching. Felix Hernandez. We've got Marco Gonzalez. That is the problem. You can't just have a great rotation. You have to have the offense and the bats behind it. And if you don't, this is what happens. That's why Santana was a huge signing for the Mariners, because he brings that power to the lineup.
But I think this is also why we're going to see the Mets drop a bunch of money on the table for Aaron Judge.
Right.
I agree.
They just want to stick it to the Yankees.
Steve Cohen doesn't care.
No.
Steve Cohen is one of the more, because if he's a great follow on Twitter, for those of you that are interested in getting some baseball stuff on Twitter, Steve Cohen is a great follow. And you quickly realize that he's that type of owner that a lot of fans desire for their team. It's just like, oh no, you're right. Yeah, we need to spend what it takes to win. And they added another tax line during the CBA negotiations. It got called the Steve Cohen line very quickly, and he blew past it. Like he wants to spend money. He engages with fans. He wants to win championships. That's what the Mets need.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's what New York
come
needs.
together.
That's what New York needs.
When was the last time the Mets won? Wasn't it the Subway Series of '99?
You mean won what? A playoff game or the World Series?
No,
World
the World Series. Wasn't it the Subway
don't-
Series of '99?
Well, they won in '86. It might have been, yeah.
I think it was the Subway
99,
Series of '99.
because they lost to the Royals in 2015.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, Judge will be a Met next year. Judge wants to stay in New York. I think he's done with Aaron Boone, and Aaron Boone holding him back. He's going to be a Met next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mets and the Giants are the two biggest pieces for that.
Yeah.
I if he stays in New York, he will be a Met. I really can't predict the Yankees.
question-
and go ahead.
I was going to say, the question is Aaron Boone going to stay with the Yankees next year or not?
If they lose in the ALDS, if the Yankees lose
Mm-hmm.
in the ALDS, Aaron Boone will be fired before the press conference even starts.
Here's the best part. If the Mariners can win against Houston and face the Yankees in the ALCS, T-Mobile Park is going to be electrified. I swear. It will
Absolutely.
be 95, 2001 all over again in Seattle.
No, and I think that you're right. And when we look at, so with the Padres expecting to be the winners, we'll just call this the predicted outcome here. We could be wrong, and we're aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this, it's not unrealistic to think that we could see a Guardians Mariners ALCS.
Yeah.
I think that the Yankees will power past.
I think so.
I do think that the Yankees will power past the Guardians.
But yeah.
They are, now that Stefan's back. The Guardians are going to be facing the Yankees, though, without Mr. Inconsistent, apparently inconsistently showing up as well as part of his new title. Aroldis Chapman,
Yes.
it was announced, will not be on the playoff roster for the New York Yankees for
That
the
is bizarre.
ALDS.
How can you miss a meeting with no explanation? Right during the playoffs.
They had him. He was supposed to show up, and the information I've been able to find, he was supposed to show up to throw a bullpen session on Friday.
Yeah.
And he showed up late and did not have a valid excuse for why he was late. The Yankees were looking for an excuse to not have him on the postseason roster.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Aroldis Chapman is a liability.
He's been very inconsistent.
How many years does he have left on his contract?
I think this is it.
But he's not definitely not a guy who hitters are afraid of anymore, like they used to.
No.
It's, and you think of he's a historic player and he's got an amazing career, but at the same time, you're looking at, let me see here. I'm trying to pull up his
While you're
contract.
doing that, I was just say, he is a team player. I mean, just look at against Tampa Bay. He got ejected for hitting the Tampa Bay player, missing out on $500,000 because he was back in his team from the previous half inning.
Well, you never know. He might have just missed his target, knowing him.
That is a fair statement. I did just confirm, according to sporttrack.com, Chapman is actually on the last year of his deal. He will be an unrestricted free agent at the start of for the 2023 season. I'm not sure we see him come back.
Well, yeah, definitely not with the Yankees.
No.
I would say somebody might put him on a minor league deal just because he has the pro experience and put him on the AAA team, let him be an inspiration.
Yeah, plus he still throws 98. He still throws 98. He just doesn't know where it's going anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he got away from his fastball. I think he tried working with the splitter, the slider, stuff like that. I think he got away with his fastball. How can you throw 99 and get away from your fastball?
Ask Garrett Cole. He had that problem for the longest time once they made them stop using spider tack. So, that guy was hitting more batters than pretty much anybody in the league at one point.
Yeah.
And just missing pitches in general. So it maybe Chapman was somebody that lost some of it because of the fact that they started checking for banned substances again.
Could be.
You know,
Yeah.
Everybody was so busy focusing on Garrett Cole that maybe that's the issue. I don't know. It's a thought, I feel like.
Good thought.
But when we look at this Yankees series, like I said, we're looking to see the Yankees and the Guardians face off starting on Tuesday. What do you guys like in that series? Stefan?
I'm going to go with Cleveland. I kind of like Cleveland.
Why?
I just think they're winning because of Theo. Not Theo, because of Francona mainly.
Francona.
Yeah.
Definitely top tier skipper in the league. What about you, Lane? What do you think?
I definitely agree. I think New York's going to give Cleveland a run for its money, though. You know, between Aaron Boone and Terry Francona, two great managers who've been there, know how to play postseason baseball. I think Cleveland's got a little bit of an edge right now because, especially with what's going on in the, with Chapman and all that, all the bad publicity. I think Cleveland's going to win it I'm going to say 6. Cleveland in 4. Cleveland in 4.
Plus, sorry about your relievers, but I think Clase is the best reliever in baseball right now. That guy's incredible.
The bullpen for the Guardians is underrated.
Yes.
And I think that's, and they are the youngest team in the postseason by age. One of the youngest teams in the postseason in the last century, actually, according to some stuff I was hearing talk about during the game. And I think that may actually work into their favor a little bit, but I still think the Yankees take it in 5.
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah.
Aaron, and I think part of it's going to come from Stanton is streaky, but Stanton has started to find his groove again. I know that obviously this little bit of a break for the wild card round may take the edge off, but I look for Stanton to hit at least 300, or I would say at least 275 in that series. And then Aaron Judge is going to Aaron Judge. Even as a Red Sox fan, it causes me physical pain to say this. Aaron Judge right now is having one of the best seasons a hitter can have in baseball history.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, is Matt Tuffman going to be back?
I have not seen. Have you, Lane?
I have not seen anything yet on him.
I'm gonna look that up. What about so what do you think it's gonna so what are the Yankees' weaknesses that the Guardians are gonna have to focus on to get past them? Lane, what do you think?
Boy, that's a tough one. I mean, the Yankees are really well balanced, but I think they're gonna have the Guardians are going to have to get through the starters to get to that bullpen. I don't think the bullpen is going to be good enough to go against the Guardians lineup and be able to hold any type of lead. That's really where my thought is, and I think that's how Cleveland's going to win. Is they have to get through the starters, get to that bullpen, and just destroy the bullpen.
Which is interesting because that's how the Yankees have had so much success in recent years. They've had the best bullpen in baseball.
I agreed. But that's the only way. I think both sides of the pitching is great for the Yankees. In my opinion, that's the only way Cleveland's going to win. Is if they can get those hits on the relief pitchers.
Right.
The starters are going to be fired up, ready to go. It's those relievers. Once you wear those down after 20, 25 pitches, keep fouling off. Draw out those at bats. That's how you're going to get those hits against the relievers.
It's the starting pitching for the Yankees is definitely a topic of their dominance right now, because especially when you look at guys like Nasty Nestor Cortez. I don't know if not very many people expected the production out of him that they're getting. But that dude is just so unreal. He's locating like a champ right now. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those games where Cleveland has to kind of look at that game and almost be like, yeah, we're going to try to win, but we need to look at a game plan that involves that being a game loss. you kind of have to plan for that. And quick, the update on Matt Carpenter. ESPN reported 11 hours ago, so this morning, Carpenter feels ready for the upcoming ALDS against Cleveland, and will get another workout in Sunday today. And that was according to Brian Houch of the MLB.com reports. So we will probably find out in the morning because I would expect the teams are going to announce the ALDS roster, the AL and NLDS rosters tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would expect we're going to find out tomorrow, but if they're saying that, there's a chance he's on that roster.
Agreed.
Which that's a huge bat for them to get back if he's going to be ready.
If he's back, if Carpenter is back, I'm probably going to have to switch over to the Yankees. He's going to be a key for the Yankees winning that series.
Absolutely. And we all at the beginning of the season, there was so much criticism of what the Yankees did and didn't do in that window after the CBA was signed. And then in May, they very quietly grabbed Matt Carpenter after St. Louis releases him.
Yeah.
And Matt Carpenter has had a career year.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal story. If you haven't seen stuff, check it out. He's a talented young man. He's dealt with a few injuries this year still, but he's played his ass off.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore it. He's going to be a huge value. His mustache is stellar. Dennis Eckersley absolutely approves.
Yep.
And Eck has the best mustache in baseball. So anybody,
and he'll tell you.
He will tell you.
We saw it up in Seattle.
Not Clase. Cease has a good one too.
Yes. Spencer Strider has a great mustache. Your
choice for rookie of the year?
Pig. Yeah. I'm still hoping.
Whoa. You're not picking J-Rod for rookie of the year. What is wrong with
National League?
Okay, National League rookie. American League, it is J-Rod. No, absolutely.
There's no question about that one.
Yeah, that one's.
I don't know. You know who's having a pretty good year is who's the guy from the shortstop from? Is it the White Sox? The son of God, I can't think right now.
I know who you're talking about. Give me a second. I'll get his name. Witt. In Kansas City, Bobby Witt Jr. No, Bobby Witt Jr. has had a great season. Definitely one of the type of players that Kansas City is going to trade in a few years because they're not going to want to pay him.
Right.
But I like J-Rod. I genuinely for the American League, but I think I'll put it this way. I think J-Rod as AL Rookie of the Year is more of a lock than Judge as MVP because Shohei actually has legitimacy to that conversation. Whereas when it comes down to it, it's J-Rod.
Okay, can I say something about the Yankee-Cleveland series?
Yes.
The one weakness I find in the Yankees is, which I've been talking about all year, they can be pitched to. I mean, Judge has made the adjustment, but Stanton has not made the adjustment. He looks awful on pitches low and away.
Yeah.
So if the Guardian pitchers can work the ball in and out, I mean, they'll have some good success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing because really the only guy you can't pitch to is Aaron Judge.
Right.
Now that the season's over and it's not about a home run record, that doesn't mean that they're going to stop intentionally walking him. Aaron Judge is still not going to get a strike pitch thrown at him unless absolutely necessary. Or somebody misses. That's when Aaron Judge gets a strike pitch. But he's got such a good eye that even when they try to paint to at least draw him, he's just like, no.
He might be the best bad ball hitter in baseball. Stanton too, though. I mean, Stanton is a great bad ball hitter. He's just a terrible good ball hitter.
Stanton's problem is being able to have a full followed through swing without falling onto the ground.
Right.
But he rakes when he's on. He's one of the hottest hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he hits the ball harder than anybody.
It depends on if he's streaky or not when it comes to the DS. I mean, if he starts out hot, he's gonna stay hot throughout the whole DS. It's that simple.
I've talked about this with my buddy Dan Warner that does the Sports Report After Dark podcast with me on Thursdays, and when you watch Stanton swing, you can tell that it's all upper body, or a majority of his upper body. There's not really very much power coming from his legs.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine if they were able to successfully alter his swing while he was using the power in his legs?
I'd like to see the difference between his swing in Miami and now.
Yep.
When he hit 59 home runs in Miami, he must have been in something.
That's it. I mean, that's a very interesting point, because you're right. But what he's doing now is still working. I mean, obviously, he's not having a horrible year. He didn't hit 59, but Judge hit 62. So, oh well. And then the other series on the American League side that we're going to see, Houston and the Mariners. I know Lane wanted to really talk about this today too, which completely understandable.
Oh yeah.
So for you, what kind of challenges do you think Seattle faces with the Astros?
It's definitely going to be Verlander. Houston's starting pitching is second to none against anybody in the American League. And I mean, Houston has had Seattle's number all year, last few years. Houston has had Seattle's number. I mean, Seattle versus Houston this year, 7 for 12. The record is 7 and 12. For Seattle. So it's like, it's going to be a tough series. Seattle in Houston was 3-7. At home they were 4-5. So we can definitely see Houston. We could see Houston winning this. One big key, I think, again, it's going to be Luis Castillo starting game 1, because, again, Houston has not seen Castillo. Yeah, they can watch film, but if we see another Castillo performance like we saw in Toronto game 1, where he's thrown Phil like he was in Houston, that's going to be a huge advantage for Seattle. Now, going on through that as well, the rest of the rotation for Seattle has a combined ERA against Houston of 4.9. So
Wow.
Houston knows how to hit Seattle pitchers, and it's actually kind of scary. Our best pitcher right now is Logan Gilbert. He's got a 2.52 ERA against Houston, 2-1. He's only allowed 7 earned runs out of 4 games. So I think Mariners need to throw him game 2. After that, it's probably going to have to be Flexen. Honestly, it's going to be Flexen. 2.7 ERA, 1-3 record. Did not get a lot of run support from the Mariners, because I believe he was going up against Verlander. Which, anytime you go up against Verlander, you're pretty much done. I mean, it's lights out. And with how he was performing, Verlander was performing in the second half. Didn't he finish with a sub-2 ERA for the whole season? 1.52 or something.
That's Cy Young. The Cy Young is going to him for the American League. Just accept that. That's what it is.
Let me run something by you guys, and this might sound crazy because it sounds crazy to me. What if Verlander is pitching game 1 for Houston? What do you guys think about maybe pushing Castillo back and just conceding that game? And you can get
that is exactly what you do. Seattle should be starting with somebody else in pitching Castillo for game 2. And I think there was somebody, I think it was in game 2 of the Wildcard series, or it may have been game 1. They were mentioning that with the way that the schedule was going to go, he would be able to pitch on normal rest in game 2.
Okay.
So I think that would be beneficial.
It might be best to throw Flexen in game 1, absolutely. But the key is you have to win one of those first 2 games before coming to Seattle. Because if you go 0-2 in Houston, trying to come back from an 0-2 deficit against one of the best starting pitching rotations in the American League, That's going to be tough. Even on your own home turf, it's still
Absolutely.
going to be really tough against Houston. I mean, I go through the rest of the, I've gone through the rest of the pitchers too. Robbie Ray, 10.97 ERA. Gonzalez, 3.81. Kirby, 4.5. He only pitched 4 innings against Houston this year, and did not get a decision, but allowed 2 earned runs and only 4 hits. So, Mariners do have a few options,
Well, that's what
but
I'm saying. Let's save Castillo for game 2 and win that one for sure.
might
And
not be a bad idea.
yeah, and you might scratch out a win against Verlander. You never know.
Exactly. I mean, with the Mariners lineup, how it is with Cal Raleigh heating up like he is, that is a huge benefit for the Mariners. Him playing cleanup right now as a catcher, that just frees up so many more options for Scott Service right now. And that whole mentality of the bullpen, you might be able to sneak out. You might be able to sneak out a win against Verlander. I mean, he's not invincible. He has
No.
weaknesses, and if you can focus on those weaknesses and tag him hard, that's going to set a tone for that whole series. And
Well,
of
he did
course,
lose 4 games this year, so he's definitely not invincible.
You have to, when you're going after DeGrom, you have to, or I'm sorry, when you're going after Verlander, I have to say you have to be aggressive.
Yeah.
You have to hit, you have to the proverbial hit him in the mouth. You got to score quick. You got to score, you got to score in bunches. Like if you can get through your first 6 in the lineup and get at least 2 runs out of him in that first inning,
yeah,
you're going to have a good game against Verlander. But
plus, I think the way Seattle hits, they have an advantage against Verlander because they don't go for the fences. They go to the other field, the opposite field, which is what you need to do against Verlander.
Yeah. We don't look for, Seattle doesn't look for long balls. They just look for the consistency to keep the line moving, and that's been the mentality ever since the All-Star break. That has been the mentality of the entire team. Don't hit home runs. Just keep the line moving. Extend out. Get the pitchers to extend their pitch count to knock them out of the game.
Yeah,
and
home runs are rally killers.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw, in Toronto against Alex Manoah. That's why he was knocked out so quickly. Is because the Mariners tagged him for 3 runs in the first inning. Before Toronto even can come up, and then of course Castillo shut him down. But still, it was it's that consistency of keeping that line moving, getting those runners across, and we saw that with J.P. Crawford. That bloop double, just 3 runs, tied it up, and again it kept the line moving, and that's how Seattle won that series against Toronto. Yeah, that same mentality. So if they can do it, this will be a 5-game series. But if the Mariners can keep the line moving, keep scoring runs, I think the Mariners might be able to pull this off. And if they do,
I wouldn't be surprised.
If they can pull off the win against Seattle, against Houston, if the Mariners can pull off the win against Houston, oh my goodness, you will see pandemonium.
I will say this: if the Mariners can get past Houston, because and I like them, I like the Mariners, and I will root against the Astros anytime I can, because I'm not really worried about Jose Altuve. He'll have to find a step stool to get up and look me in the eye anyway, so I'm not really that scared of him.
Yeah,
but
hey, I'm 6'2", so there you go.
Oh, short guy.
He's 5'8". Yeah, Altuve's 5'8". So
yeah. But if Seattle can get past Houston, I would definitely be more confident in saying that they are a World Series team.
And you know what? And talking about that, I did also get some stats.
What's up, Will?
Hey, with the Mariners against Cleveland and the Yankees, and it looks really good for Seattle against both of those teams. Where Seattle's starting rotation is an average of 1.34 ERA. Against New York, let's see, what are we looking at? About 6.7. Wow. But that's because Ray and Gonzalez were tagged pretty hard in their starts. But again, Castillo, 1.66 ERA against New York. So And then you've got Flexen and Kirby who never even faced him this year. So again, two complete unknowns for the Yankees, while you've got Cleveland, who we've dominated pretty much all year long. Cleveland, we were 3-0 in Progressive Field and 3-1 at T-Mobile Park against Cleveland. Of course, we were 2-1 against the Yankees, both in Yankee Stadium and at T-Mobile Park. Houston's our mountain right now. We climb that mountain, we're going all the way to the World Series. There is no question about it.
Plus, I mean, they've got huge confidence.
Yeah.
That's
a huge confidence booster.
Their confidence is going to be sky high.
Yeah,
because the Astros have quietly been the best team in the American League since the All-Star break.
Of which year? Like 2017?
No, this year they've been the best team since the All-Star break, and then
they've been the best team. They've been the best team in the American League for years.
Yeah,
I mean, other than 2018 was the Red Sox. But
I'm just speaking in regards to this season. So if you can get past that mountain, the Yankees seem a lot more manageable.
Yep.
The Guardians seem a lot more manageable.
Exactly.
As we switch over to the National League side, just a quick update on the scores. Mets are down 6-0, and it is the top of the 9th. So it does look like the storied season of the Mets is coming to a close. And we will see the expected result with the Padres playing the Dodgers and the Braves playing the Phillies.
Neither of that matchup. None of those teams like the other one.
No,
I mean, especially San Diego and LA, they hate each other.
I expect to see at least one benches clearing brawl in that game.
I agree.
At least one benches clearing brawl in that game.
And you know who's going to be in the middle of it?
Matty Machado. Oh, yeah, he likes to talk a lot of trash. And then we'll definitely see some good games out of that. But I like the Dodgers against the Padres. I think they'll take that in 4. And I'm actually going to put some belief behind the Braves. I think that the Braves are going to sweep the Phillies.
I would agree.
Yep.
Atlanta's been hot, especially coming back and being able to take the AL East from the Mets when the Mets have led that division all year long, and Atlanta sweeping the Mets. Yeah, I definitely agree. Atlanta in 3 on that one. Absolutely.
I think that's a sweep for sure. What do you think, Stefan? What do you think we got to see on that side?
Well, I don't think anything's for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Atlanta's hot right now, and Philly didn't really impress me in the series against St. Louis.
Louis just couldn't make contact with the ball.
I mean, I've been talking trash about Harper for years, but he's actually kind of impressed me. Same with Machado. I mean, I haven't liked those guys, but I think it's more a personality thing.
Yeah,
those guys are good players.
Speaking of Machado, I don't know if you saw, but he made a comment to the media that he said he is going to make the Dodgers regret not re-signing him.
That sounds like him.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen.
I don't know. I think Machado can go off, but I think that's about the only person who's going to go off against the Dodgers. I really think the Dodgers could easily win that series, even with Machado being Machado.
The game that Darvish starts, which based on the fact that he started yesterday, I would say will probably be game 3 or game 4 if they make it. But I think they'll probably have him start game 3. That will be a tough game for the Dodgers to win, and I think that's why I think it'll take 4. But that's just because Darvish is just so damn good when he's on the mound. You can't bet against Darvish at all because it's very rare for him to have a bad game.
Yeah, agreed.
The only thing about him is he does not hold runners on well. I mean, they steal him blind.
Is that more about the catcher than him, though?
Sometimes, but I think it's more him than the catcher. I mean, I think he's got kind of a slow, deliberate windup.
I mean, seeing him with Texas, the Mariners did steal a lot of bases against him too.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that being a problem for him. And if the Dodgers, you have Mookie and all of them can get on base, and they've got wheels on the base path. Yeah, I could see that being a huge problem for San Diego.
It's that Dodgers lineup is Murderers Row 2.0.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, and it's weird to say that, but there is just so much power and so much contact.
Yeah, they might have the best
speed.
1, 2, 3 hitters in history.
Yeah. They're 1, 2, 3 in their lineup, which it's Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with those three in any order, really.
No.
And
with the speed of Trey and Mookie, you get those going with Freeman. Even no matter what base they're on, you get a bloop single or a deep single. Both of those runners are going to score. Both Trey and Mookie are going to score, no problem.
And Stefan and I can attest to watching Mookie because of his time in Boston, and any kind of a deep hit when he's on first, especially if he has a jump, that's a run. That's a run.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, and then of course, another key player for the Dodgers too, Chris Taylor.
Yep.
And Will Smith as well.
Yeah. I mean, we saw me seeing Chris Taylor play up in Seattle for 2-3 years. He is a great all-around utility shortstop player, and he can hit too. When the game's on the line, he can come through.
How about the other Turner with the big red beard? He can hit too.
He sure can, Justin Turner. Absolutely. Again, like Stefan was saying, Murderers Row 2.0. There is not a bad hitter on that Dodgers lineup at all.
No. Mm-mm. And that's what makes them so deadly. When we look at, especially when we go back, we look at the bracket, we talk about the teams that made the postseason out of the National League. Mm-hmm. When you look at those different lineups, like, it's hard to envision a scenario with any one of those other 5 teams that in a series setting, which the playoffs are for Major League Baseball, in a series setting, it's hard to see any of them having the ability to win more games than the Dodgers because of that lineup.
Yeah. I think Atlanta could give a little trouble to the Dodgers. If it's Atlanta, LA in the LCS, I could see that going 5 games. But that's
7. Isn't that round 7?
Yeah, I could see that going 5. Yeah, that's LCS is a best of 7. I could see that going 5 games, and the Dodgers winning that 4-1. I could see Atlanta maybe winning 1 game out of that whole series.
No, I don't know about that. I would give them 2. I could see that. I would put that at 6. I would give Atlanta a 2nd game on that, and I think it's just because there's so much fight on that team. But I would put that at 7 if they still had Freddie Freeman.
Plus, they have Strider,
and that's why I think it's a 4-2 series against the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. Is because Strider gets one of those 2 wins.
Okay.
Have one of those gems where he goes out and throws 7 innings and 10 strikeouts and only gives up 3 hits and 1 run.
Yeah.
God, I love that
Charlie
kid.
Morton? Does he still have it?
He can still locate really well, but he does not have
he had a couple amazing years.
He's still locating really well.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, similar to some other pitchers that we've talked about, he has lost some of his gas, but he is still effectively locating enough and consistently enough that he's a valuable starter for any team.
Plus, he's been there.
Yeah. So much experience. So much experience out of Charlie Morton.
Right.
Because he's been in the league over a decade. I'm pretty sure. Or close to it, at least.
One thing to note about the Mariners Houston game: expect to see a lot of blue and green Mariners colors in that stadium at Minute Maid Park for the DS. Expect to see that, because if we saw, what we saw in Toronto, I think was limited because of COVID restrictions between, passports going across the border. But with not having to go across the border, going to
Yeah, and the
Houston,
distance. It's like
yeah,
3,000 miles.
exactly. You know, from Seattle to Houston is only like a 3-hour plane ride. We're going to see a lot of Mariners fans traveling to Houston
I would hope
this
so.
series.
I would hope
They
so.
will,
Their
and
first time in the playoffs.
Mariners fans will travel well for that series. And I did also confirm, yes, Charlie Morton has actually this is his 14th season in the big leagues.
That's amazing. I think guys should get in
especially
the
as a
Hall of Fame
pitcher.
just for that.
Yeah.
It's good for him, and like I said, he still locates really well. So he's somebody that you like to watch pitching, just because you know that you're at least going to see a well thrown game.
Yeah, agreed.
But we'll see what happens. The Braves have their work cut out for them still. I think when they get to the point where they're facing Atlanta, because I do think that's what's going to happen. Is I think we're going to see the Braves and the Dodgers in the NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, 4-2. But we'll see.
I think the NL is pretty much I think we know what's going to happen in the NL. The AL is more of the heads up coin flip right now.
All right.
With Seattle being the Cinderella team right now, anything can happen right now.
And right now, you can't write Cleveland off because they earned those wins.
They did.
Plus, they have Jose Ramirez, he's amazing.
Yes,
absolutely stellar player. And so let me ask you this. I'll ask you guys both this. I'll start with you, Lane. Do you think that the difference in the fact that the NL is a little more clear as far as how it looks like it's going to play out than the American League? Do you think it's because of a lack of talent or a surplus of talent?
I think surplus. I really think, with so much, it's a surplus. With what you're looking at with both Atlanta and the Dodgers, with how much talent is on both of those teams, just those two alone, it's very lopsided for the National League right now. Yes, I know the American League won the All-Star game, don't get me wrong, but in all honesty, there's a lot more talent on the Dodgers than any other team. Atlanta's second best. If you got to rate them, like a 1 through 5, I would say LA, Atlanta, New York, Seattle, Cleveland. That's kind of where my ranking is on talent right now.
That's pretty fair.
Philly doesn't have much talent. San Diego, the Mets, they're, if you can't win a best of 3 series, straight out like what the Mariners did, if you can't do that, then you're going to have a lot of issues going into a DS, because you are taxing your bullpen. You're taxing, you're really taxing your entire lineup going into a DS, where LA is going to have no problem. LA is going to have no problem. It doesn't matter if it's San Diego or the Mets; they're going to have no problem, demolishing them. And that's what I'm saying.
What about you, Stefan? What are you seeing?
I think it's cyclical. I mean, there are periods of time where the American League is loaded, and there are periods of time that the National League is loaded. I mean, with the trades, you can trade the interdivisional trades. I don't think it really matters. I mean, this year, I think the Dodgers are loaded. Maybe the Yankees are loaded. But, I mean, other than those two, I think talent-wise, it's pretty even.
There is, I think that the bulk of the talent for the National League is on those two rosters. Like Lane said, between the Dodgers and the Braves, the drop off just between the Dodgers and the Braves is so dramatic. And then the Braves to the rest of the National League, it's another huge gap. Whereas when you look at the American League, one of the toughest divisions in baseball is in the American League East. We had three teams in the American League East that were in the playoffs. Now, of course, 2 of them are already out, but there's so much talent in the American League that it's so competitive. there is much less of a drop off talent wise with the teams in the American League as far as those, we'll say those top 6-7 teams.
It'll be interesting next year when they switch it from play everyone in your division 19 times to like 13 times.
Well, yeah, because now you will play every team in the league next year at least once.
Yeah,
and you don't have to play the Yankees or the Red Sox or any of those teams 19 times.
I think it changes things for division competition a little bit, but I think it also makes it interesting because, you're going to have Boston isn't getting 19 games against the Orioles, and those 6 games that they're losing against the Orioles, that's also going to account for you have to play the Dodgers 3 games next year. You have to play the Braves 3 games next year.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're going to see some other instances like, everybody that has to face the A's now. It's like, do we just want to call up our AAA team for that series and rest everybody else? Like,
everyone has to play the A's, or everyone gets to play the A's?
Everyone gets to play the A's.
There you go.
And tune-up games. But, I think
in the AL East, Baltimore is no longer just a pushover.
They finished a lot stronger than they started.
Oh, yeah.
And you would have thought that there would have been more of a drop-off from Baltimore after they lost Trey Mancini at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But they actually got better.
Yeah.
Well, they got their two number 1 prospects they brought up, the catcher and
Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's from Oregon State. So, definitely got to see him play and, see his stats here at Oregon State. And he was part of the College World Series team for the Beavers.
What is it, Rutschman?
Rutschman, yeah. Adley Rutschman. Yep.
He was very quietly one of the stronger prospects to come up this year.
Yeah.
He did not. I don't think he got all of the attention that he deserved, but he didn't come up until later in the season, right? It was
it was like July. It was like right around the All-Star break. Yeah. And wasn't there a time? Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was he might still be eligible for Rookie of the Year next year.
He might. But yeah, I think
there is a chance.
Yeah, he did come up, I think, after the All-Star break.
Because I don't think they called him up until they traded Mancini.
I think you're right. Yeah, because that opened up the spot for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it wasn't there a time too that at one point this season that the AL East, not one team was under 500.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Until Boston fell apart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, Stefan. Sorry.
It's
me too. Why'd you bring that up?
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite things about Stefan is, yes, he used to pitch for the evil Yankees, but he's a Red Sox fan, and that means so much more to me than anything else. But of course, you still respect the fact that he did something that most of us never get to do, and he made it to the big leagues. So that's always cool.
And being a diehard Mariners fan, I have a hate relationship with the Yankees. Anyways,
well, I think a lot of people do. It's like the Cowboys.
Exactly.
America's team.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, all of America, including Yankees fans, are rooting for Seattle right now to beat Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look at a map, you've got all of America except for a little bit of Houston rooting for the Mariners, and Houston and Canada rooting for Houston right now.
Well, and and you're kind of right, but I think for Yankees fans and Guardians fans, one of the things that they know, or that right now, Yankees fans and Guardians feel like the Mariners would be an easier team to play against than the Yankees.
Houston. But they're not.
Or than Houston. And they're not.
They'll be overlooked.
You're right.
They'll be overlooked.
Because, and especially with the amount of talent it's going to take to get past the Astros, I would say I wouldn't want to be any team that has to play the Mariners in the ALCS if they beat the Astros.
Mm-hmm. Because the Mariners, if they beat Houston, will be on fire. Literally on fire. You can't stop the Mariners if they beat Houston. You can't stop them.
Plus, I don't really think Dusty Baker is the greatest manager of all time. He might be the nicest guy of all time, but I don't think he's the greatest manager of all time.
I don't think so either. There have been a lot of mistakes by Houston, and they've been able to get through it because of their talent. But when it comes to postseason baseball, those mistakes are going to come back and haunt you.
Oh yeah.
One little mistake, and that's gonna haunt you really, really hard. So yeah.
Now, one of the things that So this thing I say is, as we inch closer to wrapping up, as we wrap up today, Lane, I actually have a surprise for you. So the song "Embrace the Chaos" that the Mariners have been using as the rallying cry.
Oh, give me a second here, because I actually there we go.
Right. Okay. So the band that plays that song is called Pillar. Okay. I happen to be friends with those guys. I'm friends with them, a couple of them on my Facebook friends list, and they have given their permission for the Mariners to continue to use this song.
Nice.
And so I'm going to be, when we wrap up today, I have it ready to go. We're going to play it.
Well, did I send you the audio from '95 to relive a little history?
You did. You know what? Give me a second. Let me see.
No, here's the best part. Being a diehard Mariners fan, okay? You can only be a diehard Mariners fan is if you know that call word for word, infliction for infliction, which I do.
Yeah, you have to have suffered some pain.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me. There has been a lot of pain for 21 years, let me tell you. Being the bottom of the AL West to just missing it by half a game due to your freaking Red Sox, Yankees getting the last year. Yeah, you Red Sox squeaking in and beating us by half a game.
So I'm pulling up Messenger, so please ignore, apologize, my exchanges with Mr. Lane. But let's take a listen really quick. I want to make sure that the sound is coming through.
You might want to, can you refresh my video? It still says it's loading.
Give it a second, it'll pop up.
All right.
Give it a second, it'll pop up. But
yeah, it's been slower than molasses.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to play. This is the call from the 1995 game.
And I'm going to preface it was Game 5, bottom of the 11th. We've got Joy Cora on second and Ken Griffey Jr. on first with Edgar Martinez at the plate with a 2-2 count. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go.
And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on the line down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh, my.
Now, remember in the 95 series, in August, the Mariners were like 15, 16 games back of even the wild card. They put together a spectacular August and September just to make it in to the playoffs. And they did that against the Yankees in Game 5 of the ALDS.
I love it.
Of 95. Yeah. There is now a petition, because Dave Niehaus passed away in 2010. There is now a petition on change.org for T-Mobile Park to rotate the bronze statue of Dave Niehaus to face the field.
Nice.
There is a
That's
petition.
Cool.
Yeah. Because Dave Niehaus, last time he experienced a playoff was 2001, of course, and the Yankees beat the Mariners in the ALDS 4-1. So, huge petition now. With everything else going on up there in Seattle, I think that's going to work. And, there's going to be so much luck that wants to go the Mariners' way. There's going to be goosebumps in the entire Pacific Northwest.
Hey, Tony, how about letting us here enjoy the chaos?
Oh, Embrace the Chaos? Okay. Yeah, all right, so before we play Embrace the Chaos to wrap up the night, is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
Good luck, Lane.
Thank you. We're going to need all of you. I think all of America is rooting for us right now.
I think you're right.
We're the Cinderella team, and we're going to ride the ride. And Oh my gosh, we're gonna have some fun, and like you said, embrace the chaos.
So
One problem
before
I
we
do have with the Mariners is when the Red Sox play up there, I watch it on Root TV. You
Yeah,
guys
Root
have an
Sport.
Australian broadcaster. I cannot watch baseball with a guy with a British accent.
Oh come on, he used to pitch. Ryan Nolan Smith. He was a relief pitcher for the Mariners. That's why he's on the broadcast. Is because he was a relief pitcher for the Mariners. He played a
Well,
couple
he needs to
seasons.
get rid of his accent.
He's working on it. He's working on it. But hey,
it's not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's a lot better. It is a lot
Yeah.
better. Okay, but honestly, Aaron Goldsmith, Rick Riz, I would rather listen to it on the radio on Cairo, or their affiliates with Rick Riz. Honestly, that's much better than watching it on TV.
Right.
Listening to it through the TV. Rick Riz, awesome broadcaster. And then Dave Sims, he was the one. If you go search on Google for Mariners T-shirts, he just coined the phrase "Hey now, hey now, hey now." And there's a shirt with a broadcaster microphone that says "Hey now, hey now, hey now." That's when he called Cal Raleigh's game winner to send the Mariners to playoffs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So before we wrap up tonight, next week, Stefan and I will be, Craig will be back. For those of you that are fans of the show, make sure to keep Craig and his family in your thoughts. They did experience a loss in the family today, so definitely keep him in your prayers. But next week, Craig will be back with us, and we will have a guest along with me, Craig, and Stefan. Ronald T. Waldo, writer of the book Dead Ball Trailblazers, Single Season Records of the Modern Era. He will be with us to talk about his book and maybe some projects he's working on in the future. And, of course, more discussion about playoff baseball. So definitely stay with us. Be here with us next week at 9 p.m. Eastern. And check it out. Also, go on to Amazon. You got Prime Days coming up. It's a great excuse to go on and buy that book. I've been reading through it myself, and there's some great information about early baseball history that is definitely worth checking out. So as we wrap up today, we are going to wrap up with permission from Pillar off of the album One Love Revolution. Here is the song Embrace the Chaos.
Everything around us happens at the speed of light. Keep moving forward, there's no time to back down. Someone overanalyze and maybe we will realize tomorrow's coming, but don't forget right now. Take it, let's do this. Get ready for a fight. When trouble starts to rise, just stare it in the eye. We've got to let it go. This pain is in control. Crowd holding.
Just a quick shout out to Pillar for embracing Seattle's run to the World Series as we wrap up this evening. Lane, Stefan, thank you both for joining us. It was a pleasure, as always, to have you guys to talk some baseball. Everybody joining us after the fact on Spotify and iHeartRadio. Thank you for listening. Make sure to go to our Facebook page, wintermeetings.com or facebook.com/wintermeetingspodcast. And you can also check out what Lane writes on Sportsaholic Daily. Just go to the Sportsaholic Daily Facebook page. And then West Coast, it's the radio station you do. It's westcoastradio.fm, right?
westcoastradio.info. And I am Yep. And you'll find me broadcasting either every Thursday or Friday night for the Estacada Rangers. You can find that schedule right on the website as well.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us as well, Lynn. We'll definitely have you back again, especially if we see the Mariners go deeper into the postseason. Again, Craig, we're sending you all of our love and support. You and your family are in our thoughts and prayers. Everybody else, thank you for checking us out. You guys all have a great night. Lane, stick around for a minute after we'll talk for a second. Buddy.
Hey, 7.